done, can
What?
after you're done, can I do back for my hair, please?
You want to do what for your hair?
I just want to do this.
Oh, you want to do this with your hair?
Yeah.
Oh, look how beautiful.
After we done.
After you're done. Okay. Say hi.
Hi.
Hi, what's your name?
Paige.
Paige. And what are we going to do today?
Read a book.
Read a book, right?
Yeah.
This is called Rocket Tells a Story.
Yeah.
Or writes a story. Rocket writes a story.
Yeah.
All right. Do you think Rocket's cute?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Ready? Rocket writes a story. Rocket loved books. He loved to read them to himself or sit quietly by his teacher, the yellow bird. You see the yellow bird?
Yeah.
Right there. As she read them out loud. Rocket even liked the way books smelled. When he opened a new book, it smelled like a place he had never been, like a friend he'd never met. Yeah.
Yeah.
The little yellow bird agreed. Books are inspiring. They make me sing. I'll show everyone our picture. Ready? Next page.
Mm-hmm.
Rocket loved words too. After snack time, his teacher would say, Rocket, why don't you use that nose of yours to sniff out some new words? And off he'd go. He'd fetch some nice ones like buttercup and bug and feather. Feather and nest. I'm looking for words, Rocket would announce to anyone who would listen.
I never seen this book.
I know, it's a new one, right? All right. Rocket always brought his words back to the classroom and wrote them down. The yellow bird would help him spell the tricky ones, and they'd hang them on their word tree. Sometimes the bird added her own words to the collection. This one's small, but I promise it'll come in handy. Magnificent, chirped the little yellow bird once the tree was covered. Now what should we do with all these splendid words? Rocket thought all afternoon. Then he had an idea.
Did it come out?
Nope. Ready? Next page. Rocket left school that day with a very waggy tail. I'm going to write a story, he declared to Fred and Emma. My story will be an adventure about the great wide world, he told the butterfly. I will use many words to explain. I will use many words, he explained to Mr. Baker. Hello up there, he called as he passed the tree where he had found the word nest. I'm going to write a story.
That is so cool.
Isn't that so cool?
Yeah.
All right, next page. Ready? The next day, Rocket returned to his classroom. It was time to begin. He looked down at the blank page, and the blank page looked up at him, but no story would come.
It's cold out there.
It's cold out there.
It's cold outside.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ready? At snack time, Rocket gave up. I don't know what to write, he told his teacher. Look how sad he is. You see? Let's show everybody else. Look how sad he is. All right, ready? Don't worry, the little yellow bird replied. One of the hardest parts of writing is coming up with a good story, but it's one of the most fun parts too. Perhaps you want to write about something you've seen. A bug? Asked Rocket. Yes, sang his teacher. Stories need good characters. Or what about something that happened to you, or something you really enjoy? My favorite stick, suggested Rocket. Of course, said the bird. Or you could write about something that inspires you. Inspires me? Asked Rocket. Yes, something that excites you, the little yellow bird sang. See? Yeah, let's show it to everybody else. Yeah. Rocket took a walk and looked for inspiration. He thought about friends and places he had been. He stuck his nose in the air and sniffed the gentle breeze. And there it was. Inspiration! A delightful smell of pine needles and feathers. For the rest of the morning, he thought about the feathers and the pine needles. Pine needles and the feathers. That afternoon, he started to write. In the evening, Rocket followed the beautiful smell until he found himself at the tree with the nest. Hello again, he called into the branches. Is anyone home? He heard a rustling above, but nobody answered. "I'm sorry to disturb you, but I must tell you, you smell very nice." Isn't that a nice thing to say? Yeah. "Very inspiring. May I ask who you are?" Still nothing. "Perhaps I'll come back at a more convenient time," he said, and trotted off. See, he's talking to the tree. What do you think is in the tree there, Paige?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
No?
I think it's mom in there.
You think it's warm in there?
I think her mom's.
Oh, you think a mom is in there?
Mm-hmm.
I guess
I think her mom.
we'll have to see, hey?
Mm-hmm.
That night, as Rocket watched the stars, he thought about the feathers and the nest in the pine tree. He thought about his story and his collection of words. See, there's the big moon. Mm-hmm.
I think that is a monster.
No, that's Rocket the dog.
Oh.
All right, ready? We're going to find out what's in the tree. On his way to school the next day, Rocket was surprised by what he saw. "A brand new word," he said, and it was already written down. "It says," he tried to sound out the word. "Owl," came a quiet voice from the branches. "It says owl. That's me." "Thank you, Owl," Rocket called. "I'm always looking for words, and this one's a beauty. Do you see? Look at that's an owl."
Mm-hmm.
Rocket ran all the way to his classroom. O-W-L, owl. Now there's a word you don't hear every day, chirped the little bird. "Only 3 letters, but what a word. It was a present," explained Rocket, and he added it to his new story.
Where's out of my arms?
Good. "I'm writing a story about you," Rocket announced proudly to the owl the next morning. You see? The owl poked her head out of the nest, and for the first time, Rocket saw her friendly face. And her big round eyes blinked around the feathery tufts. "About me?" she asked softly. "Would you come down and hear it?" asked Rocket. "Thank you, but I think I'll listen from my nest," the owl answered. So Rocket cleared his throat and began to read. "Once there was an owl. She smelled like feathers and pine needles, and she lived in a tree." The owl's eyes widened. "Is there more?" "There will be," said Rocket. Cool. Should we show everybody else? Yeah. I think they'll like that picture.
They like it.
Yeah. All right, next page. Each day, Rocket worked on his story. He wrote down words and crossed out words. When things were going well, his tail wagged. When he didn't know what to write, he growled. Sometimes he drew pictures for his story or took a walk in the meadow to look for inspiration.
I like the red cloud.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The little yellow bird encouraged him. "Remember, stories take time," she'd say. She wanted to know more about the owl and asked Rocket questions. Why do you think the owl wouldn't come down? What color is her beak? What does she do every day? What do owls do every day? I don't know. Guess we'll find out, hey? Yeah.
You got my finger.
All right, next page. Rocket wanted to know more about the owl, too. He visited her tree often and read her his story, which changed every day. The owl was captivated. And when Rocket stopped, she would always ask, "And then what happened?" See? The owl's coming down the tree, slowly but surely. Almost at the end. Maybe we'll find out what Rocket writes. At last, the day came when Rocket knew he was finished. "What a fine story," chirped the little yellow bird after she read it. Rocket ran to the owl's pine tree. "It's done," he called. "Come listen." He's going to tell the owl his story. Are you excited? I'm excited. Let's find out. And so down, down came the owl until she was right beside Rocket. She came out of her tree. When Rocket began to read, he read about an owl with friendly eyes and a beak the color of a buttercup. She lived in a high nest in a tree at the edge of the meadow and smelt like pine needles and feathers. She liked to nap in the daytime and listen to his stories.
I will turn this.
Oh, can we show everybody first and then you can turn it? Oh, okay. That's good. They all want to see the pictures too. All right, ready to turn it?
Yeah.
All right, girlfriend.
Ooh.
Yep. Good job. Branch by branch, the owl came down from her nest. Rocket read. She was shy, but she was brave too. Suddenly, Rocket stopped. He wrote something on his paper, then began to read again. One day, the owl came all the way to the ground and became my friend. The owl blinked. Can there be one last sentence? She asked. Can you say, and the owl liked the story very much? What a perfect ending.
That's the other one.
I think there's one more page. You want to flip?
There's one more page.
Oh, and it was. Wasn't that a great story?
Yeah.
Yeah, the owl and Rocket became friends. Because she was scared to come out of the tree, and Rocket helped her come out. Isn't that a great story?
Yeah.
Yes. Would you like to say bye to everyone?
Bye.
Say bye. Give them kisses. Mwah. See you later.
See you later.